I genuinely think I could knock Spencer one right hook to the jaw. Seb will get it as well, yeah. I think I'll probably just jump. Yeah, probably can't. Headbutt to the kneecaps or in the face. Yeah, hashtag that, Seb, you know?
Talk me through, like, a day in the life of somebody that's due to play at Wembley, because that must be pretty fucking insane.
Yeah, that's mental. I think I've done it 4 times now. But I just got an email one day. I work for, you know, Ronaldo's marketing. He's putting out a fragrance. We'd like you and Calfreezy to go and make a video with him. And we did rock, paper, scissors. I won. And then he just took the first kick.
Hello guys, how are you doing? It's me, Jack, mate. It's fucking sunny out there for some reason. It's February and it's boiling. I'm joined again by Jordan.
Hello.
You're in Stevie's seat.
I am.
So basically what it was, we were travelling up, Stevie, the trains were cancelled, lots of things happened, Stevie couldn't make it. So I thought I'll get someone that's like almost a carbon copy.
Pretty much.
Just slightly more attractive.
I wouldn't like to say.
Down
in the comments, let us know.
A little bit better shape as well.
Oh, Stevie, we love you.
More character.
Oh, good Lord. I'm so sorry, Stevie.
But away from that, we have got a guest that I'm very excited to share with you. It's the man himself, Mr. CHRISMD. How you doing, mate? Shake my hand.
I wonder what you were going for there. Oh, dear.
Yeah, hello.
How you doing? All right, mate?
Not bad at all. Very happy to be here.
It's nice to see you on my home soil, because you're from Guernsey, aren't you?
Oh,
have I got it wrong? Jersey? Jersey. Guernsey or Jersey?
It's Jersey.
For
Jersey.
I've even written it down there. We had Tom Grennan on last week. Do you know Tom Grennan?
I think I know of him.
He does a famous song that's in the charts at the moment called "Found What I've Been Looking For."
Okay, yes, that's the one.
And I went, so obviously your most sort of famous tune at the moment is "Someone I've Been Looking For."
Oh no!
And I was just like, right. So it's 2 out of 2.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
I'm beyond the point of embarrassment by now, so it's.
It's probably only got a few more videos left.
That's it. So you are from Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey.
There we go. What brings you over to England, mate?
I just at the moment I'm actually heading up for a week holiday in the Lake District.
Lovely.
Just a little bit of a getaway just with my girlfriend. Yeah. So
sweet.
Very nice. Very nice.
I think everyone out there, because you've got 4.5 million subscribers.
Yeah. Yes. Not quite. I think 4.4.
On the way.
Yeah.
On the way. So
by the time this is out, it's on 5 million.
it'll be closer to 4 by the time it's how would you summarise your channel to anyone that doesn't know about you?
Oh my God, that's straight in.
It is.
Yeah, that's always. I've been asked this a few times, and it's just impossible to answer.
Sometimes I do the guests like bio, but I couldn't do it, so I was like, well, I'll just ask Chris, see what he says.
It's a difficult one because like I'm mainly football based.
Yeah.
So I used to watch a lot of like Soccer AM and play loads of football, doing like kickabouts and stuff with my mates. Like that was my childhood really. And so I guess I've tried to sort of put that into a YouTube channel, but that's how it started anyway. So like with the whole FIFA scene and stuff like that, that's how I started. And since then, I'm just trying to sort of evolve it with myself. And as you get older and you get different interests and want to make videos about different things. So just football based, but I don't know.
But not solely.
I don't really know what.
The thing that strikes me about your channel is obviously a lot of YouTube channels are personality led, because that's what makes the channel sort of fly.
Yeah.
But yours is somewhat more so than most, because you've obviously got quite a lot of success on YouTube and all the things that come with that. But and this isn't a bad thing. It might sound like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. I think it's unique to your channel. You've never really upped like the production value, or you've never done like any. As far as I know, any sort of like side channels or like different like a podcast, for example, you've always kept it fairly grounded, and you use people like your sister in your videos and your dad and your friend and stuff like that. Is that what's your thought process behind that? Do you just enjoy it more, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think having been on YouTube for a few years, like, I think I'm quite like subscriber driven, so it's almost too much, because I'll have months that are low on Social Blade and it'll be like that'll really get to me, and it's taken a while or a few low months on Social Blade to sort of step away from that and be like, okay, that's not everything. Like at some point you're gonna have to slow down. Sorry, what was the original question? I've totally.
What was my original? Oh yeah, about being sort of like very humble, like to like you use your family and
Oh
stuff
yes,
like
yeah,
that,
that was
rather
it, yeah.
than
Yeah, I guess I've just seen like quite a lot of big production things that aren't necessarily interesting to watch. So I've kind of just tried to keep what's interesting and what I think I like to do in videos and what I think people want to watch, but without making it just. I don't know. I've seen a few just from working in this sort of like industry, seeing how certain like traditional TV companies and stuff do it. I think I've always wanted to go the other route and totally
Right.
be like, okay, I'm not gonna have like 30 people just standing on set not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Or, like so I've always just naturally liked having a very simple setup. I think for videos and
Keeps
stuff
it
like
more raw, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and almost more true to YouTube, or certainly the roots of YouTube.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I really like that element of your videos though, because I feel, and I'm guilty of this as well. When you get a few subs and you think, oh yeah, your channel's all this and that, and you put it on a pedestal when it hits a certain level, you do like to then think, I'm gonna get a better camera, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get a green screen, I'm gonna do this, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
try
yeah.
and make it this bigger entity than what it perhaps is,
Yeah.
and it does lose what kind of YouTube was about.
Loses
So I think
charm almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were
Yeah.
you were alluding to at the start with the social blade thing, do you think that's the kind of content you're doing now is not too dissimilar to what you started with, right?
Yeah.
So are you kind of worried that if you change the change the content too much, that people will sort of go off it?
Not massively. I think I've always done my YouTube channel as whatever I want to make. Because I think if you try and appease the comments or people that have spoken to you, you're just never gonna really get anywhere or enjoy what you're doing. So
100%. You're almost going to be pulled in too many directions,
exactly,
aren't you, really?
and someone's always gonna disagree with whatever video it is. Someone's always gonna be. FIFA one's a classic for me because FIFA's just dying now, and Fortnite is like. Just,
Do you think it's dying?
Yeah, 100%.
How come?
It's just when it all started. Like it first started by people making goal compilations, and like back in there's so many people these days that are, have got fully fledged careers and stuff. Back in the day, it was literally like
selling coins.
Yeah, pretty, yeah. But even before that was a thing. There was like I found JJ's channel when he was on 10,000 subs, and I remember saying to my mate like, oh. This guy he does hilarious FIFA 11
it's husky time.
Back in the controversial days of his channel.
That was that's when I found him as well. It was quality.
Yeah, it was, and it was just like I remember someone else talking about him in class it must have been year 12, and it was just like how do you know about this guy? Because I'd never spoken to anyone else.
It seems like everyone out there knew KSI when he was at 10k subs. 10 million people knew him at 10k.
Yeah, but no one subscribed.
9,900,000 did not give a fuck about that. Fair play.
I think one of the reasons, this is just personal to me, like why FIFA might be dying is, in my opinion, the last couple of FIFAs could have just been DLC. Because I feel like they're almost just reskins of the previous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 2018, 2019 is basically the same game.
Yeah.
Just updated, this person went here, or that, So I think that might be contributing as well. There's nothing fresh about it.
I feel, and I haven't really played this one much. Obviously, they've put the new arcade sort of modes in, which are pretty fun.
Yeah, 100%.
Fun for about half an hour, and then you get bored of it. But didn't they like really go down the route of just focusing on the Ultimate Team stuff?
Yeah, well, they've very much gone down the like pro gamer thing now, which is not really why the whole YouTube scene was about in the first place. Because I think it started from people just trying to put their like really good skill goals or like their best goals and stuff on it, and then like pack openings became big, but they've just recently banned FIFA points in Belgium actually because it's now classified as gambling.
So
it's
really
like, that's probably not going to be around. Like I imagine FIFA points and stuff.
If they lose that element, they'll lose everything, won't they?
Yeah, like all of their.
Did you ever play Habbo Hotel?
No idea.
I know of it. Back in the day.
Do you know what it is at all? Or
no,
not?
I've never heard.
So it's like you have a little character. It's online.
It's like up there with like Club Penguin, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
but come on, mate, a little bit better than that, right? So, and you would like make a room in a hotel, and you would buy Fernie, which was furniture, and you could go around and swap bits of Fernie with people, and you could make like these different creative rooms, and they didn't have to be within the realms of possibility. So like you could have like a roller coaster in your room or whatever.
Okay.
And I was pretty big on Habbo Hotel, right? And you were defined by, much like YouTube now, where how many subs you got, like that kind of shit. It was like, how much Fernie have you got, or how many coins are you repping? And I had worked my way up. I was a face on Habbo, basically. And I was about 12, little ginger jack, and I ran a casino. And
Right.
I employed dealers.
Still trying to work out where this is going.
100%.
And they had shift patterns, right? They had rotors and shit. Like, I'd say you're on at 4, like that, and they'd collect all the winnings and they'd give it to me. I'd be like, that's my purple dragon lamp. You can. You only work here. Remember that. And I was like a don, right? And before I tell you why that's connected, I just want to let you know. Just have a random stab in the dark at what you think my username was on there. It is the worst thing I have ever put on the internet.
Oh God, I dread to think. Hit us. I have
Do you
no
want me-
idea.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
So I was 12.
Yeah.
My nan bought me and my cousin Reese a pink Lacoste polo shirt in real
Oh,
life. So I
no.
put my username as #1 Chav. See you later, guys. It's been
Proud.
Chatmay's Happy Hour. Thank you very
Proud to be a chav.
But the reason why I tell you this long-winded story is because they banned gambling on it, and the
okay.
users went gone, and I was just a shell of a man left with a
Your,
casino. and
your
no one-
dynasty
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
crumbled
Yeah.
there and then.
And it,
Oh, no.
yeah, and you could actually sell your Fernie on eBay.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
But
so
when they
that's
banned the
what-
There you
gambling, they banned
go.
that. So
yeah.
I lost a lot of money. Not sure how we got
mate.
here, really, on an episode that's about Chris MD. But Chris, let's put it back to you rather than Purple Dragon Lamps. What made you start YouTube? Because you've been doing it a long time, haven't you?
Yeah. So I guess it again is pretty much the same subject. Just posting FIFA goals. That's when I first started seeing people doing that, and the FIFA community was so small back then. There's people like Nepenthes, FIFA Raleigh. I can't remember all of them, but it's like there were so many people that were just starting off, and you could see everything just starting to like branch out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember just looking at that and being like, oh, that's like I now have a reason to play FIFA. It was like I'm not just playing. So I used to play Ultimate Team and just be on party chat with like 6 friends or something, and now it was like, okay, I can do that, but have this little project going on of like trying to score a few goals and then uploading it to YouTube. So I think that's where my real route down the FIFA stuff happened.
Right.
And I was on like I remember I put hours and hours into it. So I was actually training to be a vet, and so I was doing I did like 10 weeks voluntary work at like dairy farms and vet places and stuff like that. And I was doing this FIFA stuff on the side. Just didn't really have a social life back then. It was like one of the two things. And yeah, I just remember putting so much of my time into it, and like on a few days I'd get like 10 subs or something. You'd be like, oh my god, like, look how many. Like you get like an email for every sub.
Well, so you binned off like the prospect of becoming a vet?
Yes. So
to do FIFA.
Yeah, pretty much.
So think about how many future animals are going to die.
Yeah,
Now.
because of, I pretty much found out that being a vet was killing people's animals, and that's kind of what put me off.
Oh,
'cause
right.
A lot of
Yeah.
it is just being, oh, there's not really much we can do to old Fluffy here.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
really
put it
gonna
down.
be, the old injection again.
When you said that, I was thinking like when you were saying like I was going to be a vet, like I was going to be a physio or whatever. I was just then thinking, shit. This YouTube industry, how many
how many
proper
failed
careers
careers
is this
has it
taken
just
away? Like the amount of doctors that could have saved like vets and and they're all just making videos in their bedroom now, but doing better than if they were. It's crazy.
And if you look at it from the other way, because all the people that have grown up with a passion for those certain things are now going into YouTube, that's now opened up those careers for people that don't really give a fuck.
Yeah,
so you just grab some random
Yeah.
guy that wanted to be a FIFA player,
Yeah.
not make it, so he's just like injecting cats and stuff. Did you have one video that like blew up?
Yeah, totally. So I got to about I was on 2,000 subscribers, I think. When I was probably doing FIFA videos for about 3 years, something like that. I totally have blanked them from my memory, so I'll sometimes go back and be like, wow, I was really quite sad. Like, no wonder I didn't have more of a social life.
Relatable.
And there was just one day I started doing face cam, so I'd got past that stage of.
Was you
friends-
anonymous at the start?
Yes, except for like my close friends.
Right.
So I always told my close friends, but like people.
Did
at
you do a
school-
face reveal? Did you do one of them?
I not like a face. It was
No.
just I just one day put my face on camera. And
Like,
it
oh
was just
shit, that's
like,
what he looks like.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
this is what I look like.
Yeah.
So I remember I'd like properly broken that barrier, and people knew what my face looked like and things. Well, not that many people, because there's only 2,000 people that actually cared about my channel. But there was there was a pack opening I did one day, and I got Messi in a pack in FIFA 14. And back then, when pack openings weren't really a thing, that was like insane. Like, no one, if you got a Messi or Ronaldo in a pack, that was like, you were guaranteed like 1 million views or something.
Right.
Wow.
And so I think that got 1 million views in like 6 months, and that just like it's crazy, because that was, I think, around January 2014, I think, and that was kind of when I was in the final stage of like A levels, and properly like doing all the stuff to be a vet, and so that pushed me to about 150k subs by the summer, just because that gave me the momentum, and then obviously I did stuff on the back of that, and so I was then in a position in the summer to be like, okay, I could go to, I didn't actually get into vet uni, so I could have done zoology at Nottingham or given YouTube a try.
Right.
And I still had braces, and so I was kind of like, I don't like, obviously first impressions at uni, and like, my face looks like this. It's
But
not great.
instead you just put it on the internet for everyone.
Yeah.
Basically,
And the internet being such a lovely place,
Yeah,
I'm sure it
far
was
more
great.
forgiving.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
it. If there isn't at least 3 comments a week telling me to kill myself, I've had a bad week. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But yeah, so that kind of gave me the decision, and I was like, you know what, I'll leave it a year, gap year, see how it goes. Try actually doing YouTube full time, and it just went within like 2 months. I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna pursue
Sick.
this.
That's sick.
Fair. So with the getting the, did you say Messi? Was it
FIFA 14.
With getting Messi in the pack, obviously a hell of a lot of good luck.
Oh yeah, that's what people always say. Like, oh, how can you give me some tips on starting YouTube? And it's like, mate, if I didn't get this player in a pack, I wouldn't have continued with it.
Mental.
So it's
That's literally
That
what
is
the
insane.
question was going to be. Yeah, like how much
Yeah.
of it do you think's luck
oh
and
yeah,
stuff?
because I needed that. I think I would have continued, but like obviously people who go to uni and do YouTube usually either quit, or I don't know if I'd have continued.
Yeah.
But putting me like in that position, and being able to make that decision in the summer after I'd got my exams results and stuff, it was like I 100% would
But
have
then
done that.
you did well, because then you still need to ride that wave, because you can't. A lot of people can get that spike and then not know how
Switch
to
off,
play
almost.
it and stuff like that. Yeah.
I do think I was again quite, because I had the initial thing, and the community was still like, for the content that I always wanted to make, like football and stuff like that. Obviously the sidemen and the guys like that were kind of right at the top of it, and JJ was like kind of pushing the UK forward.
Yeah, just
And-
Cal Freezy every week. Buy coins, buy coins.
Yeah.
Just in an alleyway.
Yeah. And, still living off that money,
I
probably.
know,
But by the sounds of what I've heard of how much they're getting. But yeah, it's so I feel like I kind of had the community there.
Yeah.
So I was quite lucky in that respect. But I was after that I was so like driven. I just remember throughout the last few years of school, I could see what was happening on YouTube, and I watched so much YouTube. It was like footballer, then YouTube. That was like my dream job. And so obviously now.
So
that's
vet had
every
really fallen
7
down the
months.
pecking
Oh
order.
yeah. By then.
How did your family react? Because obviously at one point you want to be a vet. I can imagine your parents are pretty proud by that, and then opening packs.
It was, I think once they started, it's the classic. Once they started knowing that there was actually money in it, and it wasn't just.
It speaks for itself,
around.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
100%.
It's different.
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky. My parents have always supported me whatever I want to do.
That's
So
fun.
there was never like, I didn't even have the conversation with them. I think because I kind of showed them what I was watching on YouTube, and I'd always like show. It's probably some of your videos actually. I sent this to you the other day. But yeah, it's quite. I felt like I actually knew you before I met you today.
Really?
Just, with certain YouTubers, and if you like, you get some people who totally portray a personality on YouTube, and you can kind of tell. But then obviously if you're doing like podcasts and stuff, it kind of breaks the walls down. But
You can't hide on a podcast.
No.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm trying to. And so back in those days, I used to just watch so much YouTube. So I remember I used to watch. I can't remember where I found. I remember you mentioned the Project 6 a little while ago, and I was around in those days because I remember seeing Joe Weller. You on that, and
Crompton was on there.
Yeah,
as well.
Nick Crompton. Yes, yeah. So I remember seeing him because I hadn't seen him for a few years until I saw him on the Jake Paul video. I was like, surely this can't be the same guy. And I think I went back to the Project 6. I was like, oh my God,
That's
I think I've had a
mental.
career
Yeah.
change. Like,
Yeah. So what? Your parents very, very supportive. Yeah.
yeah, very supportive because, yeah, I've always got on very well with my parents. So it's never really a case of like, oh, really strict parents and they're sort of sending you down a route to go.
Because
very lucky.
your dad's in a lot of your videos now, so you seem like you're quite close to your dad.
Yeah. My dad actually basically like kind of works for me nowadays. So he's we worked out a while ago whether it was him as a manager or PA. It's definitely PA. Yeah, he kind of he was a teacher, and so he was kind of getting to the stage where I think he was thinking about retirement and not quite at that stage, but like it was just a nice route out, so I could give him some more spare time, and he helped me with my things, and he's just so much happier. So it's kind of like a win-win.
That's incredible,
That's
though.
crazy. Yeah. How does that work as a dynamic, having your dad work
it's
for
just
you?
because we get on. Like,
Yeah.
my family have always been so close. Always done holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely like, but it's still your dad, so you can't spend too much time with them before you get annoyed.
Yeah.
If he messes
Yeah,
up
it
at
works.
work, do you shout at him or like
Just go. This is one verbal, Dad. One verb.
Yeah.
No, it's not really like a. I don't know. It's kind of like it's not really like a full-time employment thing. It's
I'd
just
imagine
he
it'd be very
helps me with
relaxed.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it works. So like, yeah,
That's
just
class.
we've been doing up a flat in the Lake District, and it's just he's been kind of sorting up all the stuff to do with that and sorting out, like builders and making sure they're doing it in the right.
That's so
time.
cool. Would you say like that whole thing with like him, coming on and doing that with you? Would you say you've got closer, or is it just always been the same? And it's just like now it's just
Yeah, I mean it's only for like the last year and a half because I was kind of like I do want to get a PA, and then there's like, oh my goodness, if you're a dad, like it's a bit like.
But at the same time, is there anyone that would look out for you more
That's
with
the
your
thing.
best interests than your own parents?
That's the thing. Because I've never like, because I was living with my parents before about 9 months ago, and I've always lived with them, so I've never like, I don't know, I've never really had to do like the finance side of actually being an adult and the taxes and everything like that. So it's
You
great.
don't pay any in Jersey, do you?
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, that's why I still haven't got any experience in it. Yeah, but...
We're moving.
You won't have to pay any tax anyway, mate.
Well, this is true.
Yeah, it's pretty great in Jersey. There's no company tax, and income tax is capped at 20. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty, but you have to have lived
Wow.
there for 10 years before you.
Oh, really? That ain't worth
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, it's like YouTube will come by then. So.
Are you a big deal in Jersey? Is your face everywhere? And
There was a period of what? No,
I imagine there's a statue of you in like I was going to say the capital. Is there a capital? It's like a
not really.
bench.
There's like a square maybe in town.
Is there a
Is
statue
it named
of you
after
there?
you?
No, there's
It's
not.
like that. At the Wembley Cup. I'd love to see that.
Wow.
But are you're going to probably be too humble because I think already you're one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But just throwing that out of the window for a second, are you, at the moment, ignoring Henry Cavill, are you the most famous thing in Jersey?
I think if you're 12 years old, then probably. I actually did this interview with like this business magazine, and I didn't think it was like a particularly big thing. I think it was someone my mum knew, and so I was like, okay, it's like a friend, so I'll do an interview and stuff for them, and then I did like some photography with them for the front cover, and then I didn't realize this magazine was like on the stand on 4 or 5 stands like at the airport, like throughout businesses through Jersey. So the next week I got like so many photos from people being like, oh, look who it is. And it's like, I had no idea my face was gonna. Even Harry, there was one in Guernsey because they have the same like business company saying it, so he went to the airport and took a photo of it.
Well, explain to me. I am still getting confused by Jersey and Guernsey.
Yeah. So Jersey has 100,000 people,
Right.
and we're both 2 islands that we're not technically part of the UK, but we're part. I'm gonna get this wrong because I haven't looked it up for a while. We're either part of Great Britain or the British Isles, but we're not actually part of the UK. So we're like a separate country, but everyone there's English.
Right.
We're technically all clumped together with England.
And how many's in Guernsey?
So there's 60,000 in Guernsey. So Guernsey's smaller.
Right. So you're the king of Jersey.
Yeah.
Then Harry's the
basically. Harry's the king of Guernsey, yeah.
king of. Oh, okay. And then we've got KSI.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's quite weird that there's 2 of us like on the UK YouTube scene that are from these tiny little islands.
Yeah.
And yeah, Harry, I think actually came from Alderney, which is one of like 1,000. Like they've only just discovered the wheel. That it's like they literally have like a couple of roads and that's it. But yeah, then he went to Guernsey, and there's always been like I've always played football against Guernsey football teams, and there's always the Marathi, which is like the yearly football match that they have. And that's when I did a video with Harry where I did Jersey v Guernsey, and I just based it off that.
Yeah.
And
do you have to fly there then?
Yeah,
boat there?
yeah. So it's like a 10-minute flight, literally. So yeah, with Salah, you know, and his flight going down and everything, like that was.
Oh, wasn't it near? Was it near?
Was near. So
yeah.
it was off the coast of Alderney. But like everyone was talking about it because he'd flown over Jersey and Guernsey, and then and yeah, like it's like everyone knew someone who was working in air traffic control and had heard why. And stuff like that. So yeah, it was quite topical at the moment. Yeah.
Shit. Right, on that note, I think we'll go for a break. And when we come back, we're going to be speaking to Chris about some of the big footballers that he's filmed with. There's some big names in there, his experience at the Wembley Cup, and we'll ask him your Twitter questions. So come back in a bit. Cheers. Hello guys, welcome back to Jack Makes Happy Hour. Jordan's still to my left and Chris is still to my right. Chris.
Sorry, can I just say, when you keep saying hello, it sounds like I sometimes walk into a room and I go like, hello guys, and it just sounds like me in a video. So like I'll quite often be like, hello guys, how you doing? And it's like, oh, this is like everyone here must be just thinking like, oh, this guy is exactly the same.
He's just a walking YouTube.
Yeah, the first 5 seconds of videos.
Yeah, it's like my mates like in my Sunday league team, they'll sometimes call me Jack, mate. Like, hello, Jack, mate. And then they'll go, no, I don't mean. They feel like a mug for saying it. No, we briefly touched on your FIFA videos, but something that is probably some of my favourite content that you do is when you're fortunate enough to do videos with some of the biggest footballers on the planet.
Yes.
And I was just having a scroll through your channel, because your channel, I've known about it for donkey's years, basically. And the reason I knew about it, actually, is because, you know, when you can go on to YouTube and look at your list of subscribers, you always come up at the top for being the most subscribed.
It's like the community tab, and it shows how.
So I think one day I just saw that, I was like, fuck, there's a guy subscribed to me who's got like 800k or something. So I've sort of like, for the past sort of 6-7 years, I've sort of always dipped in and out. And on the way up, I was scrolling through your channel. You've done one with Ronaldo that I seem to have blocked from my memory, which is fucking mental.
Yeah. Insane.
How did that come about?
It actually quite a mental. I just got an email one day from like, it wasn't even through my agent who usually deals with like sort of all the brand stuff. It was literally an email to my business email saying, oh, we'd Ronaldo, I work for Ronaldo's marketing. He's putting out a fragrance. We'd like you and Calfreezy to go and make a video with him. And it was like, is this real? Like, oh, come on, like, who's making this? This is Will and E making another video. But it was like, yeah. So for the start, it was sort of like, all right, we need to just check that this is actually real. And then it became quite apparent that it was, and it was crazy. We were actually on holiday in Mykonos at the time, and so we had to cut the holiday. Yeah, that was it's like me and my girlfriend's summer holiday week long, and I was like, kind of got an opportunity to film with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Didn't really even give her the choice. I was like,
sorry, not sorry.
How'd she take it?
Priorities.
Yeah, well, actually, she actually came along on the day, because it was like he was launching his fragrance, but it was this sort of like media party sort of thing. So there was alcohol, there was drinks and food and stuff like that. But if you weren't on sort of list of approved people when they were doing all the filming and stuff, you had to like not be in the room. And there wasn't really a second room, so Shannon had to basically just sit behind this wall. It was like, it wasn't even it was like, so they had a whole room, and then there was a wall, and then like a cupboard, and all the girls that were serving drinks had to stay in there as well. And it was literally
you put your girlfriend in a cupboard.
It was literally like, as long as Ronaldo can't see you, then we don't care.
No.
But he having said that, he was one of the nicest footballers I've met.
Really?
Didn't see him do anything that you'd expect him to do, judging from how the media like portray him and everything.
Like be a bit of a diva, basically, but he wasn't.
Honestly,
arrogance or
honestly, so nice. He said in the video I filmed with him, so I basically got him to react. I think it was like one of the first times I got footballers to react to my actual videos and stuff, because it was like, okay, you got a 7-minute video of Ronaldo. What are you going to film with him that can't involve football? And so where was I going with that point? He said certain things like in Portuguese as we were filming. So like he'd do my video and then turn and like he had a big entourage, like
Yeah.
a good like 20 people or something.
Wow.
And he'd say stuff. So like when I was sat there filming with him, there's like 30, 40 people behind the camera, and it's like when I remember so I talked so slowly because I was trying to explain my video concept to him, and this woman halfway through had to be like, Chris, you need to speak. She literally went, mate, you need to speed up because you're not gonna get your video sorted. And like people were like, oh, how rude, like how could she come in and just say that? But it's like, if she didn't say that, like they'd have got to 7 minutes and been like, all right, that's your time.
That's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had a video.
So you had like 7 minutes from start to finish.
So literally there's someone on a stopwatch. I thought that was because of CR7 to start off with, but then I saw that other brands had like 10 minutes and stuff. It's like,
wow.
yeah, so he would turn and say stuff in Portuguese to the people, his like entourage, and at the time you're thinking, oh, he's being like, oh,
mugging you off,
bit of a knob, isn't he? And then afterwards, all the comments were like, oh, he said like your skills are really good, or like, he said like you're a wizard or something like that. And
really?
like, so even like
Can
when I
you
thought he
get
was
any
mugging me
better
off in
praise from a
Portuguese,
better
I know,
man?
right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, people actually put like the time of when he said stuff in the video and like what he said.
Oh wow.
But he was so nice. It was just, was crazy. Like there was a photo booth there, and he stayed for like 10 minutes. Just not even, we left before him. He was taking photos with everyone there, and it wasn't people he knew. It was like all brand people. There were clearly some people he knew there.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was mental. It was like, this isn't the Ronaldo that I know. Like,
yeah,
that's been put in the media.
But then you do sometimes see these articles and these videos where people are saying like Ronaldo is actually safe, and
everything I've heard about Ronaldo, like especially since that, because I've sort of looked into it more and been like, it's just like a one-off, but everything I've heard has been positive on him.
Sound guy.
Yeah, that's incredible. Have you got? You don't have to name anyone, and if you do, we can happily bleep it. But have you got any bad experiences with meeting people?
I haven't come across a footballer where I've been like, like it's clearly just got to you and they're just seeing it as like media duty.
Yeah.
I had to cut out a bit of my video with Sanchez because like his English isn't very good, so a lot of the time I was explaining stuff to him and you could see in his eyes he had no idea what I was saying. He was sort of like very happy, very smiley, like very enthusiastic. But we did rock paper scissors for who takes the first kick when we did like this, trying to kick the ball behind the goal and try and curl it in. And we did rock paper scissors. I won, and then he just took the first kick. I was Alexis, like, can't really just tell him to be like, all right, mate, that was actually my turn. I'm gonna start filming again. I appreciate if you behave yourself. But, so I just sort of had to roll with that.
Wow,
that's quality. That was probably just a language barrier thing, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I had one with so I filmed with Fabregas a little while ago, and he like absolute idol of mine.
Yeah,
and he was definitely probably joint. Him and Hector Bellerin have been like the nicest footballers I've filmed with.
You've mentioned that before about Hector Bellerin.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, because he's so down to earth and so savvy and so switched on with the YouTube scene. He knows exactly what to do. We were filming something with him before for a channel I was part of, and he would like. I'm not saying that YouTube's super fake, and I'm definitely not implying that he is, but you know, like when you're doing a YouTube video, if something's funny, you laugh a bit louder than you usually would. Yeah, you could tell he was very switched on to that. He was very like interactive with the camera, but he was one of the fucking nicest guys ever as well.
When I filmed with him, so I would be like, so I had my cousin and my sister there on the day, and in between stuff, I actually had like 6 hours filming with him. It was a really long day, so. We were filming this thing for like the build up to Tough Mudder, so he was like doing training, and they had this guy who'd set out exercises. And first of all, the people there were just really nice. It was a lovely atmosphere to film with, and there was just so much time to just chat to him. And so by the end of it, I actually felt like I knew him, and he actually knew who I was. So it was not just like you turn up, you get 10 minutes, and they're just like, oh, it's just another media person.
Yeah, that's quality.
But he would just be in between shots, like kicking balls at my cousin who's in goal, being like, come on, Ollie, like we need to warm you up, stuff like this.
Oh, wow.
And then he would come up to the camera and just say stuff when I was collecting balls. And it's like, he's literally doing my job. For, like, he's actually, people in the comments were like, he's literally a better YouTuber than you. So he was truly, just such a nice guy. And he followed me on Twitter afterwards. Nice. Back when we won the FA Cup for the second time in 2017, I sent him a message being like, oh, like, was in the front row, like so sick to see that. And
Yeah.
he replied to me, and
Really?
he likes a few of my tweets and stuff, and he's just that humble brag. But
Yeah.
he's just such a nice guy from everything.
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen, really,
quality.
really
Love
nice.
it when
is
people
class.
like that. So no bad ones really then.
No, I was just going back to the so when I filmed with Fabregas,
Yeah.
you know that
Yeah.
pizza incident with Sir Alex Ferguson back in 2004.
Remind me.
So I think we maybe lost United or it was a draw, but there was always this like thing that someone had thrown pizza at Sir Alex Ferguson, hit him in the face.
Right. Okay.
And a couple of years ago, he was on A League of Their Own, and they were basically like, Cesc, like, was it you? And they had like a whole pause, and then he was just like, yes, it was. And it was like, oh my god, like no one's ever confirmed that, and it was like, such a big like thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I turned up there with 3 frozen pizzas, and I was like, we could maybe do a crossbar challenge with these pizzas if it was out. And he was like, not sure about that.
Oh,
But like
he
in
didn't.
such a fun, he was like, oh, he like laughed at it. But he was like, oh, I'm not sure. Like especially after he'd been on League Their Own and like invited abuse from United.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
Oh,
that's
wow.
like but I think you sort of know with footballers that you know if you come up with anything, you don't want to put them in a bad situation where,
No.
where
Yeah.
they have to be like, oh,
Can't be
you know,
too
but-
edgy.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was because there was when we did Bellerin, it was around Christmas time, and the company I was doing it for were like they were doing a thing called a bauble challenge, see how many people could do keep ups, how many you could do, and Hector was injured at the time, so they were like, "Can you ask him if he can do it?" I was like, "I don't think he'll be able to because he's not taking part in like these tiny little exercises we're doing, so he's not going to do anything else." And I went over, and he was there with his like. It wouldn't be agent, it PA or whatever this guy was, and said, "Hector, can you do these keepy ups?" And he turned to this guy and went, "Can I do these keepy ups?" And the guy just looked and went, "Yeah." I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
Dog yourself out,
You're
yeah.
you're worth millions of pounds, but
Yeah.
go on, do your Achilles, do whatever you want.
It does quite often seem like the footballers are so willing to do stuff. It's like if you actually get to talk to them and say like, "Are you happy to do this?" Then yeah, pretty much every situation I've been in, they've been like, "Yeah, of course." Like
It's
I'd love
usually
to
the
do
team
that.
around
It
them
is,
that wrap
it's
them in
totally
cotton wool.
who just try and
Yeah.
make sure that there's nothing that gets to them.
Yeah, exactly.
I filmed with Bale a little while ago. Yeah, those are my main drop
Yeah.
drops. But I had ages with him as well. It was maybe 3-4 hours. 'cause
Really?
That wasn't actually. So I filmed a video with him. Again, just like, yeah, I had like 10 minutes with him, sort of thing. But I was.
Is that when you
filming-
showed him your goals?
Yes, yeah. That I'm really stretching the showing footballers my footage at this point. I think that's probably the last one. But like we were filming this stuff for, I think it was Nissan on Goal for their Facebook page, and so it was me and him like reading out these Champions League goals, and I was just stood there like talking to him about golf for like 3 hours. And
Really?
Yeah.
it was mental. And it's because when you like. As a kid, you think footballers are just another planet. Like, totally, you don't see them as part of the world.
But
And then
actually,
you meet them, it's like, oh, he drives around in his like Land Rover, you know, like
Yeah.
he sits at red lights and stuff. And you just
Yeah.
don't, you don't
they're
think
people
about it at
too.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
And I think often they're quite. They're a lot more humble than we imagine because
definitely.
when they're coming up through the ranks, they're not instantly the greatest player in the
No.
team. At one point, they are at the bottom of the pecking order.
Yeah.
They're in the reserves, whatever. They have to build it up slowly. So I think they know the struggle.
Yeah.
They've not.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
100%, yeah.
Ronaldo's not always been Ronaldo.
No,
do you know what I
yeah.
mean? But where Bieber's always been Bieber.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why people.
And sometimes it's a fluke, like a certain player gets injured, and it's like, right, here's your chance. You've got like this half to prove yourself, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
And they manage to.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because so many of them have obviously had to work to where they've got to, and so they see you much more as people than you'd expect.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, like, I've got 5 minutes to ask them, like, how are they gonna give me respect and stuff, and it's like they're generally just lovely. which
Yeah,
is
it
nice
makes
to
a lot of
expect.
sense, doesn't
That's quality.
It's very nice.
You're not a bad player yourself, are you?
I'm actually injured at the moment, so I haven't been playing for quite a little while, which is frustrating.
What have you
But-
done?
So I thought it was an Achilles injury for like a year last August. Was it a year and what are we now? February. So a year and 7 months ish maybe.
Right.
I like first training session of the season. I like stood on the ball, so my ankle kind of went like that. The ball went out forwards, and at the time I was like, oh, this, you know, you get like ankle twinges and go over it. And it just kept coming back month after month, and I thought it was an Achilles thing. And eventually had like more detailed scans and stuff, and it's so frustrating because you get scans and they're like, yeah, there's not really anything there. It's like, you know, they're just being like, kind of just been a bit of a pussy. With this.
Yeah.
So
Come back when it's ruptured, mate.
yeah, all these people come in like hobbling, and there's me
Yeah.
just there like
Yeah.
got a twinge on my ankle, like,
This guy's got AIDS.
yeah. Probably shouldn't be seeing a foot and ankle specialist. So yeah, they basically had to have an operation. They shaved down the bone and took out some scar tissue, and so I should be back in like a month, 2 months, and stuff.
Shit. So
But,
you missed out on the last Wembley Cup, didn't you?
No, I play not by injury. Played like 10 minutes.
Oh right,
Yeah,
okay. Because that's what I thought. I thought you were in because you were in the. Were you in the draft pick?
Yeah, so me and Perez were in hashtag.
That's it. Yeah. So when you were
which was
then saying
insane.
that injury stuff, I was thinking, so maybe I've completely fucked that, and you weren't in
No,
it, but you were.
Yeah, because the Wembley Cup was like so different this year. It was just yeah, I think Perez only played like 10 minutes as well.
Yeah.
So
What
yeah,
is it
was very
like
much
to
on
play alongside proper players like that?
It is. I didn't actually get on the pitch at the same time as him, which yeah was a bit heartbreaking. But like yeah, playing alongside
Have you
I
played?
remember when I was playing against him in the 2016 one, it's you think you're like, oh, you know, this guy's getting on a bit. Like I'll be able to sprint away from him, and he just drops a shoulder and just like barges you out the way, and you're like, oh, like you see how much like what a step up they are from Sunday League football and stuff. It's just like having that quickness and just off the mark, the strength is mental.
Yeah, that's incredible. Who's the best player you've ever played with or against?
I'd probably just say Perez because I haven't really played except for the Wembley Cups. I'm trying to think who else was in that. No, probably Gerrard actually. Gerrard played in that, and
Yeah.
you could still he
class.
could easily play still. You know, it's
Yeah.
like and you watch him in Premier League matches, and you know near the end of Gerrard's career, he was quite slow. He'd come back into his deep position, but even in those matches,
can
he's
still ping a
out-sprinting
ball.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you just don't realize how much faster Premier League games are compared to. Well, you
Yeah.
probably do when you watch the charity matches, and you're like, this
Yeah.
isn't real football.
Yeah.
What
Well,
about?
that's, oh, sorry. I was just going to say on the lines of like ex players and that. I often think I can't remember what team it is. I'm sure you the one that Paul Scholes has just taken over as manager.
Oldham.
Is it? Yeah.
I think so,
I was
yeah.
thinking, right? Surely he could just sub himself on and probably make more of
Yeah.
it. No disrespect to the level, but
Yeah.
it's Scholesy, man. Like
Yeah.
surely he can,
Just have a
come
little
on and
go.
make a massive impact.
Yeah.
And tear him apart.
But he could have just been smashing Greg's in for the past 6
yeah,
years.
very true. But,
But
even
he's-
so,
yeah,
I
just-
still,
Still could do a job sitting between the sandbags.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Compared to like most of the Sunday League CDMs that you know,
Yeah.
just sit there because there's no running involved.
Yeah.
Surely you could still do that.
When
Yeah.
I asked you, who was like I guess the worst footballer you've ever met, not that he was awful, but for me, I was actually going to say Gerrard was probably the most unpleasant.
Really?
Yeah, he just looked like.
When did you meet him? Sorry.
This was about a year and a half ago, and I met him at an event for something, and I won't name it; it'd be too specific.
Probably
but-
about this. Oh, yeah, I met him actually about a year and a half. It was yeah, at this LG event.
Oh
But
no, it weren't. It was similar thing, but he was there with Lampard,
Okay.
and it was just polar opposites from them. Like
Really?
Lampard was just so sound,
Yeah.
like so sound, and because what it was, I think you've been there definitely. You sort of. You're kind of on a conveyor belt to get your questions,
Yes,
and then
yes.
the next person comes up, and there's people from all different walks of life. And Lampard just seems, whether or not it was just a fake PR face, I don't really mind. But Gerrard was not hiding his at all, so he was just sat there, and I was like 3 people behind, and I could see him just constantly looking at his watch and going, and I could see him exhaling, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to be. I
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
because I'm only doing it to get like a little bit of content that's not going to change my life. Like
Yeah.
you really don't want to be doing it, so why are we doing this? So I just
Yeah.
said to the woman, "I'm all right, thank you," and I just
Really?
yeah,
Really?
I just left it. Yeah.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah.
Wow.
and then went over to Lampard, who I wasn't actually booked to do, but he was just stood in the middle of like this forecourt speaking to someone. So I just sort of hovered around a bit, waited, and just went, "Frank, is it all right to get a bit on camera?" And he was just so lovely and just
Oh,
so sad.
quality, man.
I'm not saying Gerrard wasn't. He's probably a long day. It was a bit dull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's quite a serious man.
Yeah.
Especially after the start. I was actually watching his Amazon Let Us Dream. I think that's it. I've only seen half of it, but it's like you don't realize how much the slip and stuff like affected him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Oh, just like even for a normal footballer, but being someone who's always been at the same club,
Yeah.
who's been a Liverpool fan, like
So much passion
Yeah.
for that team.
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. You don't really think about it because, like, I'd be the first. We all would be the first one to tweet a meme. But I think
Exactly.
when I've fucked up in Sunday League before, and it's given me restless nights for a bit, and that is so irrelevant. Like, literally, no one gives a fuck about it. So yeah, that is a pretty heavy thing to
And
do.
the fact that his goal has always been to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
He almost went to Chelsea to get it back in like 2004, and so, like that must kill you.
Rough.
Yeah.
Very rough.
So
Yeah, but then he
tough.
did break my heart in that FA Cup final. So fuck yourself, Stephen.
Oh, that was some goal though.
Yeah, let's not talk about it, Chris. What's going back to the Wembley Cup? What's when so let's talk me through like a day in the life of somebody that's due to play at Wembley, because that must be pretty fucking insane.
that's mental. I think I've done it 4 times now, which is
Wow,
ridiculous.
that's mental.
That's
It
probably
ju-
more
ju-
than any
honestly.
West Ham player at the moment.
Yeah, that's crazy because I've been there. It isn't football related, but it was for Eminem, and I remember walking out because we had standard. I remember walking out and thinking, imagine playing
Yeah.
football here. It's so vast. It's
It is.
just it's incredible.
Yeah.
I love that feeling.
Absolutely
you get
incredible.
in a concert or a football match when you just walk out and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Whoa.
it's just like
Yeah.
the electricity. just
Phenomenal.
hits you.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I think weirdly the first time, because we had the first when Spencer put on the first side men against Spencer FC, there was no one there, and weirdly it seemed even bigger then, like when there's not a crowd.
Hollow.
And yeah, that in some ways meant the most, just because it's Wembley and it's just.
Yeah.
There was the day after the FA Cup final when Arsenal beat Aston Villa 4-0, and so I just remember going in the changing rooms and it was like, this is where the Arsenal players were.
Yeah.
Like, they scored in that goal yesterday and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mental.
Do you spend the whole day in the mind frame of a proper footballer? Do you like?
I'm like Ty from Al. Do you see when he walked past the Sky
Yeah.
Sport headphones on? I go from Gatwick like.
Thumbs up at the camera, slow motion.
Yeah.
The camera's not even slow motion. You're just doing it.
Yeah.
Do you would you still have like a double bacon and egg McMuffin on the way there, or would you go, nah, I'm going to have like Nutri-Grain or some shit?
I did actually have porridge, and Brian, I think, mentioned that on the commentary of the second Wembley Cup.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I guess I probably am on the route to thinking I'm a footballer.
Yeah.
halfway, yeah.
Fair.
Fair play.
I the biggest thing I've ever done like that is I played at Upton Park, so that was like a bit of a thing.
Was that
for me.
that wasn't like 2.5 years ago?
Sounds
that-ish?
about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. It was literally just before they knocked it down.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay, I think that's the same one. Yeah, I saw stuff about that.
Yeah, it was just. But no, I don't know if it was, because it wasn't actually a YouTube thing.
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
It was. Oh, was it literally just
Yeah, like this is.
I remember there was like a crowded match, I think, around then. Maybe it was-
there wasn't many people there. What it was, because I played.
we just broke in.
Yeah.
A few
Played
stewards
heads
running
and
off.
volleys down one end.
I'm going to let the listeners and the viewers in behind the curtain here. I don't know if you do this, but YouTubers have a tendency to play stuff up to look better online, right? So if I bump into like a celebrity, I'll go, great to work with you today, Hector. I've just had a selfie of him at the Arsenal game or something. And I was on a train. I'd just seen that Spencer and Seb and all that had been playing at Upton Park. I was like, I'm so jealous of you boys. Like, that was the one moment I was fuming. I didn't get an invite. And then
That's probably the one that I saw, I think.
yeah, it's probably that. So I was on the train and I'd had a few tinnies, and I just saw a competition to win like the chance to play at Upton Park. So I just entered it and I won. And then I put on Instagram, great to be invited down to Upton. 'Cause it's not a lie.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
And now I've
Just playing with the truth.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I speak to Saunders quite a lot, Spencer's younger brother, and I've always said to him like, oh yeah, it's cool, isn't it, that we just like this kind of job, we just get
Yeah.
invited down. I just signed up to a competition by a company called eToro, whatever they
fair.
are. But it was good. I scored 2 goals and then missed a penalty. So
Oh.
the hat trick was there within.
There for the taking.
Yeah, that's it. Right. So Chris, before we get to the Twitter questions,
Yes.
as you are one of the nicest guys on YouTube.
On YouTube, anyway.
Massive racist off camera. What have you ever been involved in any kind of YouTuber beef?
I don't think I have.
Okay, cool.
Would you like to?
Yeah, it's not the question, not the answer you want to hear on the
No.
podcast, really.
When we had
I actually this is pretty much as close as I remember I played a wager match against a YouTuber called Capgun Tom. Do you remember him?
I remember the name.
He's he does streaming and FIFA stuff these days. But yeah, such a nice guy. But back in the day when I had maybe like 40,000 subs, something like that, I played like a wager match against him, and my computer turned off. I lost against him, but my computer turned off halfway through and deleted all my footage. And it was like quite big money. Like back in those days, it would have been like, you know, a few £100 for these players. And like I was like, mate, I've lost all my footage. Like my computer's turned off. And obviously, when you've just lost, it just looks
it's
like
so
I
yeah,
remember him like
yeah,
just being
all right,
like,
mate.
like, come on, mate, you're not gonna get far in this community. Like if you're having this attitude, and it was like, I don't know what. Like I can see how this looks, but
Yeah.
So what? So you smacked him, yeah?
yeah, Sidemen party and the right hook. No, yeah, so that's pretty much as far as I've got. Yeah, that's
Okay, cool.
That's it.
Cool. I'm glad you
Yeah.
answered that because
Nice.
I don't know if
Got a
you.
title there.
Oh, I'm going to go one step ahead. I don't know if you've seen our podcast we did with JJ, but at the
Bits,
end,
I think.
at the end of it, I specifically said phrases I could use in the trailer at the start of the video.
Nice. That's clever.
To draw people in. So what I'm going to do now.
Oh, you've got a few there. Thinking about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've got 3 sentences I'd love for you to read.
Okay.
Which I can use in the trailer. So
yeah.
if people have got this far, they'll know it's not genuine beef, and you can send them this if it is.
Yeah.
But do you mind just reading those bold bits out there, please?
I genuinely think I could knock Spencer one right hook to the jaw. That's what I'd do.
I'm trying not to make any noise because I know these cameras. Right. You can add that last bit onto that bit.
Okay, yeah, we'll do. All right, yeah. Seb will get it as well. Yeah. I think I'll probably just jump. Yeah, probably can't headbutt to the kneecaps or in the face. Yeah, hashtag that, Seb. You know.
Oh, what you really just hate Spencer and Seb? I wouldn't have thought that because they're giving you great opportunities at the Wembley Cup.
Yeah,
and stuff, but
you know.
this is not making any sense
this
to
is
any
no
of the
content,
audio
yeah.
listeners.
Yeah.
This is all for the trailer. I can't
That's
even remember
it.
what the last one was, but I assume it's in a similar vein.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go changing. Spencer's gonna have to change his whole identity when I'm finished with him.
Oh,
mate.
there we go. I
Oh.
purposely made that last one shit so people thought that Chris had...
Yeah, I don't think the performance on that one was
yeah.
Yeah, people are gonna work it out by that one. No,
Yeah.
Spencer was one of the first people who I like properly went for like I remember we went for a meal after the first Wembley Cup. I can't remember if that was the first time. No, it was filming for the Wembley Cup, I think. And like he was Spencer was one of the people that I sort of like connected with. I don't know what you guys' opinions of him are.
Oh, I
anything,
love him.
but
I think he sounds
I think he gets a lot of unfair stick and everything just because he's off camera always been one of the nicest guys I've seen behind YouTube.
Yeah, I think he sounds does.
decent.
I think he gets a lot of stick from that football Twitter stuff.
He does. Yeah, and it's it's unfortunate. Yeah.
No, I like all them boys, and it's rare for me to find a YouTube that I actually like, especially 3 of them in the same family.
There you go.
I think what we'll do now is
Puts you out of a job for a while, actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I wish they were cuntier. So.
Yeah, that's it.
We're going to finish on some Twitter questions that you guys have sent in to Chris. This podcast has flown by. I've got so.
Yeah, I mean,
so many more.
I'm just loving talking about myself.
All right then. Well, okay. So, one question I did have: do you have? We'll fly through these Wembley Cup questions, and then we'll get to Twitter, right? So, do you have any weird, not weird, but do you have any like superstitions, like when it comes to playing football?
I don't. I think I'm very. I just go the opposite way. I've always been brought up to be very skeptical, and so I'm none at all.
Nothing at all. No.
No,
Do you have any superstitions in life or not?
No, not really. I can't really add too much to that. I know a few people out, like Nadal apparently only brings out his tennis bag in his left hand and all the rest of
Wow.
that. Yeah, like he's proper bad.
Is he left-handed?
Yeah. Also got a considerably smaller bicep on one side than the other. Anyway.
Has he actually?
Oh, mate, Google after this, obviously.
Right.
Nadal's left bicep, mate, it's like boof, and then the other
Really?
side's just like a twig, yeah.
I think that like superstitions and stuff like that come hand in hand with like not getting too deep, but as Chris MD episode, so we can't go too into. But it's like goes hand in hand with like religion and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're religious,
Yeah.
I think you're more likely
susceptible to it.
believe
100%.
stuff like that. Yeah.
100%.
It's all like sort of believing that there's like a separate thing going
Power.
on that you're not part
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of footballers like from working with people in football and seeing insight into their lives. Like the Man City documentary came out that like the background staff like give each. I think they give like. There's one guy they give a massage to after every City win because like they're like. I don't know if that actually convinced.
That guy
but it
must be
happened.
buzzing now.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
What? Yeah.
How long's he had? How long's he had that
Yeah.
job? Like
Yeah.
back in the day, not
Mate,
many.
yeah, but when they like got that win or whatever, it's just like, oh yeah, so obviously it's because of that.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So we're gonna have to carry that on. Yeah.
Fucking hell. What's the best goal you've ever scored? I'm certain you've probably said this on your channel before.
Ooh, I'm not sure I have actually. I've got one in my childhood. I had one in when I was like 15 or 16. I went past like 4 or 5 people and then hit the post, which was horrible.
Oh.
But there was one when I was like 8, and then these kids that are just twice the size of me, twice as wide, like, and yeah, I went. My dad actually didn't get it on camera. His one job, but yeah, so like you see me run sideways, and the camera sort of follows 5 seconds later, and there's like these 3 giants around me. But yeah,
That was his first disciplinary at work
yeah,
as well.
that was cost him a month's wage.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's probably the best. I haven't shown that in a video yet because I'm saving it.
Mm.
Yeah, so probably that one.
You've scored. You definitely have scored in Wembley Cups, haven't you?
I scored. So I scored in the first one when we didn't have a crowd, and then the end of the Sidemen match, which was just ridiculous. Like,
Was that the better one because of the crowd?
Just because that's the like. There's wanting to be a footballer, and then there's wanting the moment of scoring a last-minute goal. Like it's the sort of like the thing that you actually dream about. And like even though it's a Sidemen match, and like the crowd's average age is like 14, but
yeah,
like,
but that doesn't mean anything,
no,
does it?
no, and like obviously like those people don't care like they would in an actual football match, but scoring that goal and there's like fans of you in the crowd who genuinely are like wanting you to score, and
that must be such a buzz.
So with 30,000 people, like I can't actually, I don't want to try and remember it too much. If you like go back through memories, you sort of remember it differently.
Yeah,
and so yeah, that was just I just remember after that I was like, this, if I could go back and tell myself like 5 years ago, like this is what you're gonna like, I'd love to look forward to it.
Yeah.
Because it was easily the best moment of my life.
Really?
Just
Quality.
Mental.
Really?
It's like it's everything you feel it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it feels kind of sad saying it, even because it's like just a YouTube charity match. But like,
Nah, man.
it was still just it felt everything like you dreamed it.
Yeah.
That's class.
That's quality. There we go. I think we'll leave it there. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast, Chris.
Class, mate.
A pleasure to be here.
I think
Thank you.
anyone that's listening probably already knows of you, but for the sake of those that have been living under a rock for the past however many years, where can people find you?
That's the Chris MD YouTube channel. I was trying to think of something funny there back yeah, the Chris MD YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay,
Quality,
sweet. Chris
quality.
MD on near
Still
enough
haven't
everything.
got a channel description. But
Have you not?
Have you not?
No, as in because you asked.
Oh,
me.
right,
right,
what you
fair.
actually
Not come
do.
up with anything
Fair.
for an hour and a half.
There we go. Well, pleasure to
Quality.
break your podcast virginity as well. Enjoy that sex on the
You
beach
are
with Chris
welcome.
Pratt, and hopefully see you again soon. Cheers,
That's
Jordan.
it. Not a problem. Enjoyed it, mate.
Cheers, Chris.